Beautiful.
Okay, I'll note that all board members are in attendance. Mr. Wondolowski has called in to attend, and we'll do our pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay.
One thing, Mr. Chairman, with Mr. Wondolowski here, must maybe
Sure.
be over here at the table.
I'm going to make a motion to go into executive session to discuss matters concerning litigation, potential litigation. And I know there's another reason.
Yeah, I would like to also talk about election security, if we could.
Okay.
Discuss that.
And I will add that to my motion to also discuss election security, which are two matters that are permissible under the public meeting laws. If there's a second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Frost. And Mr. Frost, let me.
Yes.
Mr. Wondolowski?
Yes.
Okay, I'm Joe?
Yes.
And Hastings, yes. We're going to take this to Mr. Pilates' room or office to discuss it, and then we'll come back into session. Dave?
Yes, Jeff. Yes, I'm here. Hello.
I think Karen set up a conference line.
Did you get that, Dave?
The first part we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
The security part. Okay, thanks.
Well, that was.
Yeah, I think they wanted to keep it moving.
Yeah, it's very exciting, so it must be important.
Yeah.
I did. Oh, because she said something about security.
Yeah, nothing that I've heard.
Hello, we can hear you. So when somebody's blind, is the ballot braille, or how do they?
I'm not real
You haven't
sure.
had that issue? I'm just reading, it says we have approval with the contact with the Society for the Blind, so I'm wondering, do they do like braille ballots? I don't
There's
know.
some ballot marking machine that can assist with,
Or maybe it talks to them?
yeah, I'm not real sure.
Oh, I mean, it is their right to
There.
vote, so it does make sense.
Yeah, there's something that
Yeah.
can assist. But I don't know if it's a braille ballot or there's some other device.
Okay. Did Anthony shake his head?
I'm sorry.
Did Anthony shake his head?
Oh, I think
Get
so.
me up here.
Yeah.
He wasn't saying anything, but I thought he had hair before.
Yeah, I think you're right. No, you mentioned
They're either doing that or they're, my neighbor has like this big grizzly beard. I hate that. Oh.
it.
Hi, Linda, how are you?
All right, Mark.
Oh, how are you? Good, how are you? Good. Are they almost done? I'm not sure. I know they want to get executive session and then he just called telling me about. Perfect.
You guys move around so much, I couldn't tell which one was yours and what was forever.
That was where you guys did that first.
Yes.
We did that at the end, but.
Gotta get, Mark a large mask.
I might have one more.
I don't want to take
No,
it
that's all right.
away from.
I need to order some more anyway.
We need to keep our, legal counsel happy.
Yes.
Anthony, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you, Jeff.
So Dave's gonna be calling in here shortly. We may have, all right, we got Dave on? Good.
Rob will be here in just 1 second.
Anthony, do you have me there?
Yep, I got you, Dave.
I can hear you, Dave.
Okay, great.
I think that I sent a text to Lori, Becky, and Jason saying we're back. I don't know if we need any of those. And I see Dick's on.
bepbm.
I think this, that's not already.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what to do, but.
All right. David, you can hear us? Hello, Dave?
I'm on. Yes.
I'm gonna make a motion to come out of executive session.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Frost?
Yes.
Hastings, yes. Mr. Bell? Can you hear us?
Yes. Do you have me, Jeff?
Yeah, we just took a vote on the motion to come out of executive session. And what's your vote?
Yes.
Okay, very good. All right, let's go on to the, I will move to approve the minutes for the September 28th and September 30th, 2020 meeting. If there's a second. Thank you, Mr. Frost. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you. We're getting a little feedback here. I don't know if Robin's able to, where that's coming.
I'll try to look into it. I'll try to turn it down.
Just enough to be annoying. I will move to acknowledge the Secretary of State's directives and advisories, Directive 2020-21, the placement of absentee ballots and provisional voting, Directive 2020-22, and Directive 2020-16, the use of secure receptacles outside the Board of Elections litigation, and the use of elections officials to receive absentee ballot outside the boards of elections. Advisory 2020-09, which is the APRI exception. And then we're going to have a walk-on item here. It's Directive 2023 issued on Friday, expedited canvass and certification of November 3rd, 2020 general election ballots. If there's a second.
Second.
Thank you. I do have a question, and we can take this up later in the meeting. But we're going to have to pick new dates then, right? Mr. Pilati and Ms. Soder for our meetings in December or November?
Yes.
Okay. And is that something we can discuss near the end of the meeting?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Terrific. Any other questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor, signify
Aye.
David. For the ballot, Department approval of the ballot order for the November 3rd. I will move to approve the ballot order for the November 3rd presidential election, if there's a second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Frost. Any other questions for the director, deputy director about the ballot order? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to authorize the pay 219 voting location deputies, 3,376 precinct election officials, 600 sanitation officials, and 300 election substitute officials, a total amount not to exceed $1,192,850. If there's a second,
Second,
thank you. And any question or comment?
just a question. Are we good with our number of poll workers?
We are,
Okay,
and I will give an update here
Okay, thank you.
later on in the meeting, but
all right, thank you.
short answer, yes.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. I will move on to election support, and I will move to approve the allocation of a total of 4,557 voting booths, 838 DS200 precinct scanners, 295 ADA automark voting units, and 1,118 electronic poll books for the November 3rd, 2020 presidential election. If there's a second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Frost. Any questions or comments about this deployment? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Wondolowski, and I will move to authorize to process payment in the amount not to exceed $29,290 for 120 private voting locations and one zone station being used for the November 3rd, 2020 election. If there's a second.
Second,
Thank you. Any question or comment? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you. Motion passes unanimously. On to fiscal, we have Ms. Lucy here, and we have a recommendation for sole source purchase award to OPEX Corporation in the total amount of $104,905. Ms. Lucy, if you want to tee that up for the board, I know there was an explanation in here about the equipment, its capabilities, its abilities, its expenses, et cetera. So
Good morning,
good morning.
Kendra Suzie, Fiscal Services Manager, Board of Elections. We're recommending the sole source purchase based on our recommendations from Hamilton and Warren counties who are currently utilizing this equipment. Despite the sole source nature of the purchase, we did obtain a second quote from an authorized dealer seller. The authorized dealer seller, RT Lawrence Corporation, charges a $2,000 coordination fee per unit. So it's slightly higher, just that amount by that amount. The first year maintenance cost is $2,830 per unit. It is included in the purchase price. I'd be happy to answer any questions. However, I'll defer to Mark Lawson, our prosecuting attorney, to answer any questions regarding the master maintenance agreement included in your board.
So my question relates to this is, I will move to recommend the sole source purchase of this OPEX Corporation at a total amount of $104,905 for the purchase of 3 Model 72 mail extraction desks, including the maintenance support, except for such terms and conditions that are legally objectionable to the prosecuting attorney. If there's a second.
second.
Thank you. And then I do have a question now that it's on the floor. Do we have this equipment now or no?
Yes, this equipment did come.
No, I'm sorry. What are we using previously before we bought this equipment?
Manual, people, a letter opener and people sitting there.
So this is the first time we're deploying this equipment,
Yes,
and you're saying we do have it on site now?
yes.
Are we using it?
Yes, they just came at the end of last week. So this is related to one of the grants that we had applied for before. And so what we have found is what 3 people can do is amazing compared to the number of actual individuals you'd have to get this same line mail open.
I see one of the figures is about 36,000 envelopes an hour.
I think it's 3,600, 3,600. So, and what they're able to do is because they're able to do that massive throughput, also, as they take out the identification envelope, they're able to orient that right away, easily and quickly, which then helps the next process, which is going through our Gillis piece of equipment. So it just, the efficiencies that it creates, is really gonna be one of the things that's gonna be able to make us get through this massive volume of, vote by mail ballots that we anticipate. And really, well, we know we're gonna get it because we've seen the applications.
Where are these deployed at?
They are in the Haley warehouse on the 5th floor, where we're doing all of the vote by mail process, the application and ballot returns. So it's part of that process.
And all the monies are coming from other sources, funding sources?
Yes, so 2 different grants. So one of the grants was the National Vote at Home Institute, who are covering the purchase of 2 of these devices. And then the other devices being paid for with grant dollars out of the Center for, is it Civic Tech Life? Or if I said that wrong. That one, yes.
Terrific. Any other questions for Mr. Fry?
Just a question, for the other company that we just got a quote from, does any other Board of Election in the county and the state use them, or no, it's just a preferred? You said there was one other company that we got a quote from, do any other boards of elections use the other company?
They don't, and it's because this is the manufacturer direct.
Okay,
And where the other company is a third-party reseller.
okay, great,
So,
perfect,
yeah.
thank you.
Any other questions for the board? All right, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you, Mr. Wondolowski. And then I will move to approve the contract with the Cleveland Society for the Blind doing business as Cleveland Sight Center for the call center for the period of October 23rd through and including November 3rd, 2020, an amount not to exceed $100,000 with the option of additional services during the term of that contract and an amount not to exceed $20,000 conditioned upon the director giving specific written authorization for the Cleveland Sight Center to proceed performing additional services if there's a second.
Second.
And Mr. Frost, I know you've made comment about this before.
Yeah, as I stated on the record at a previous meeting, because of a client relationship of a partner of mine in my consulting business, I've not had any discussions, had any involvement in the process leading to today, and I will not be, I will recuse myself from the discussion and decision on this matter.
And the record will so note that. Thank you, Mr. Frost. Are there questions for the director, deputy director, and Mr. Musson about this contract? We've used them before, haven't we?
Yes, so we used them just this past spring and part of the extended portion of the primary, but we also used them in the 2016 presidential general election. And so we are expanding and going more days with them than we have in the past, and it's just an anticipation of more phone calls because nothing is normal anymore with these election processes. And they have provided good service. They're actually the call center for the Ohio Secretary of State, so they're very familiar with election-related questions. And so this will definitely help us, especially too with giving us the ability to ramp up phone operators and not have to worry here physically about socially distancing and finding a space to get people here.
Are we gonna find a problem? Are they doing this for other boards, if you're aware of, or just the Secretary of State?
I'm not aware of any other boards, but definitely they're doing it for their Secretary of State. That's their primary, and also they had a list. They do like the Ohio Department of Taxation, and there's a couple other statewide organizations that they provide call center services for. Ohio Department of Education, Department of Health, Department of Medicaid, Department of Taxation, Development Services Agencies.
Not without getting into too much into technology, though, how do the polls just roll over there or from here? Is that how?
Correct. So our main line, our 443 vote, which is 443-8683, those calls will forward to the site center and it goes into their system. What's nice about the site center then is they have many operators available, trained on staff. So they're able to adjust the call volume. So if we need 25 operators for the first hour of the day because it's heavy and then calls trickle down, then they take people off. So we get billed per minute. So they adjust to meet the need.
And how are they educated? I mean, how, are they educated on election law or?
So what they do is really, the majority of the calls that they answer are really calls that anyone can answer if they have access to our website. It's those, am I registered? Where do I vote? Track my ballot, those types of things. So that's what they're doing. Now, if there's a more technical call that gets deeper into a registration question, that gets forwarded back to the Board of Elections, to an internal phone link that we have in Betty's area on registration, who they will work through those higher level. And so that's how we do it. And we do provide training documents to them. Tony Calgar works with them on those documents to be able to answer, again, these most frequently asked questions. And again, it helps that it's similar to what they've been trained and been doing with the Secretary of State's office.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
The record will reflect Mr. Frost has recused himself on that. And then I will move to approve the vouchers. We have 2 items on here for the Walker Group and Angstrom Graphics. If there's a second.
Second.
Thank you. Any question or comment about those vouchers? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Great, it passes unanimously. Director Pallotti and Deputy Director Soder, any updates for the board?
Yes, so I'll start off and I'll hit on a couple. I'll start with early in-person voting. So this week, week 3 of early in-person voting, our hours increase. We now go from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., so it's 1 additional hour at the end of the day. And our ballot drop-off at Campus International will mirror that increase to 8 to 6. And upcoming at the end of this week, this will be the first weekend in this election cycle where we'll have weekend voting. Saturday from 8 to 4, Sunday from 1 to 5.
Can just to pause 1 second, I'm sorry to interrupt. I heard on a TV station last night, reporters say, that the ballot drop off, you could vote and drop your ballots off, and they gave the period. I thought by directive, the ballot drop off was to be 24/7 access to voters. And so I think we need to get some clarification to voters and to media, because they are reporting, maybe just inadvertently in just the context of you can vote these hours and then throwing in the drop off. If, as I understand the directive, voters can come at 2 in the morning and drop their ballots off. We need the messaging to be clearer about dropping off your ballot and the 24/7 access to voters. So could you speak to that, and maybe we can have some follow-up, because it really is getting confusing for voters, and I think they can only come drop their ballots off between that voting period. Thank you.
So you're absolutely correct. The permanent drop box in our parking lot, 2925 Euclid, never closes. Open 24 hours a day. It will be open until 7:30 p.m. on election evening on November 3rd. And so that is always open. And what we do is we complement or supplement this box during early in-person voting hours with the Campus International location. And that is to, again, increase volume of cars to do that, to help with congestion, as well as much as possible, try to separate vehicles with people walking to vote and exiting the building from voting. So definitely 2 different things, but the box here never closes. In fact, last night when staff came in this morning, from when we finished yesterday at 5 till this morning, there was 1,000 ballots in the box out here. So, but
we make sure the messaging is clear, because I hear people saying, oh, and then giving the hours, and it confuses the drop box. Thank you.
Not a problem. And so through last Friday, that was, we had 9 days of early in-person voting. And through those 9 days, we had 17,532 individuals vote here at the Board of Elections. Comparable in 2016, on the 9th day, 7,213. So definitely more than double coming through. When individuals do come here, what we have is a good gauge from when they enter in the Euclid Avenue building. It's about 15 to 20 minutes once you walk in that front door till you're exiting out the back. And in that 15 to 20 minutes, you are standing in a shorter line inside, checking in with an operator, getting your ballot, voting it in the booth, scanning it, getting your sticker, and walking out the back door. So that's, we feel pretty good processing time. Everyone wants to know, like, well, what's the best time to come? There isn't one. We have consistent flow throughout the day, and typically people start coming at 7 o'clock in the morning to line up. So if you think you're gonna sneak in real quick in the morning, get in and out, no, because again, every day they're coming, even today in the rain, they were here to do that. So know that. So if you come and you see that, normally you get in the building 15 to 20 minutes to do that, which equates to our staff being able to process about 200 to 225 voters every hour. And we have been averaging about 2,000 voters per day. But it's been successful. People seem to feel safe, comfortable. We're keeping up on keeping everything clean and taking temperatures, and everything is running pretty smooth, knock on wood, for the early in-person process. Vote by mail, we have processed 325,564 valid applications. Again, a record where we had just about 200,000 valid or ballots returned 4 years ago. We're well above that. Something that we really don't report on, but is interesting to know, is that 325 are the valid. So we get a lot of duplicates. So people coming, they're sending in a second application. We've gotten just over 60,000 duplicate applications. And so to know that, staff have to start that processing. So really they processed like 385,000 applications, which of then 60,000 of them are duplicates, and those don't get a second ballot. But it just shows the volume of what staff have to work through. We probably have more duplicates than most counties have actual applications. As of today, there's about 10,000 ballots that still need to go out, and those are applications that were just processed in the last few days. Otherwise, ballots are out. We have received back 102,000 ballots so far.
How many?
102,000 have come back. Of those 102,000, 90,000 of them, so 102 physically back here, 90,000 of them have been returned to DIMS, meaning that they've undergone the validity review of the envelope and have been then uploaded back into DIMS as being received. It's that, and that is what triggers the Track My Ballot tool. So of the 102,000 ballots received, 90,000 of them are in DIMS, so 90,000 of them can be, you can utilize the Track My Ballot tool to follow that. That other 12,000, those will get put in today. So basically we're at the process where we are handling what came in like the previous day, or what we consider that to be caught up. So there is, so we are in a good position with that.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but the calls I've been getting are people, I don't have my ballot yet. Is there a processing time that we can say to voters that, or to make them aware, so either that they can have a reasonable expectation about when, how long it takes for us to receive and then their apps and then get the ballots out? That's a frequent question. I'm saying, just like, what's the best time to come?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same question. So is there anything that you can share about that?
I would say that really the applications that are coming in at this point, we're able to get those in on a daily basis. And so if we get that in, a ballot is usually in the mail, what, 2 to 3 days later?
That's correct.
And then the post office delivery.
Okay, so are we saying 3 to 5 days, 2 to 3 days for us to get it to the post office? Is that what we're saying, or?
It's, 2 days typically is what it is, because it doesn't make the next day's automatic file. It's pushed to the next day. So 2 full days to get to printing the actual ballot and then put in the mail. So 3 to 5 days is typically what I think that it would be for
us to process and get it mailed out.
For the post office to actually get it there.
I would say probably within, so us processing it, hopefully 5 days later, they have it in their mailbox.
Okay.
So 2 days for us, and then about 3 days, hopefully for the post office to deliver.
Thank you. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's okay. And so We had 102,000 ballots back. 4 years ago at this point in time, we had 48,000. So we're double what we have returned. And an interesting fact is the 90,000 that have been returned into the system, or I'm sorry, of the 102 that we have received back, 52,000 have come through the collection boxes. So really 50%
Wow.
of the ballots that we're receiving are people personally driving down here and dropping off their ballot. Now, that's not 52,000 cars. I would say 25,000 cars. Most people bring theirs and a member of their household or relative, but that's a lot. We've never seen this where 50% of what comes back is coming through personal delivery of employees, or sorry, of voters. Precinct election officials, just wanted to say we've met our goal, and we will be able to open up all 295 polling locations. And Shantiel will give more stats on kind of where we are in all the different areas.
So we will continue to update the dashboard, but you'll see a lot less movement between the numbers that we're posting. Right now, what we're focusing on is sanitation officials. Our original goal was to have the larger locations have 2 sanitation officials and then 1 at each polling location, but we actually have enough interest in applicants that we want to train 2 individuals at least for each polling location. So that's kind of where the openings are that you will still see available. But we did meet the deadline of getting all of our core precinct election officials trained by October 15th that the Secretary of State listed in the directive. We do still have approximately a little bit over 2,000 applications like pending with individuals that are interested. Some of those are duplicate, so it is a little bit less than that, but we will start sending out the message where we are looking for individuals is here at the Board of Elections, the warehouse, not just prior to the election, but on election night. So we'll start offering those positions to assist human resources if individuals are interested in just participating in the election. So I think staff has done a tremendous job in the last 2 weeks, been able to completely, for the most part, I would say fill 70% of our polling locations and make sure that they were trained. So we do have just a few special numbers that I'd like to point out. 413 county employees that are working the polls for us, and then an additional 426 attorneys that will be getting the CLE credit. So both programs absolutely vital to our success this election. We're very thankful for those individuals and the powers that be that helped us get those in our numbers. So again, thanks to every person who applied to work the polls. This has been an amazing turnout.
Just a comment, I think that's great news. There had been a report, last week or something that we didn't have enough poll workers, but thanks for the dashboard. That was very helpful because we could see very clearly we did have the numbers we needed. I did want to say I got a call about the training, people raving over the training. So just want to thank the staff for all the work that you guys thank the trainers because people are saying the training has been outstanding. So thank you.
Wonderful. We'll pass that along.
We're still doing training.
Only for election substitute officials, which are our standby reserve poll worker pool, and online training for sanitation officials. And I believe we might have 1 high school student, which is also online, but the majority bulk of our in-person training was complete on October 15th.
I mean, is there a criteria for in-person versus online?
Different positions, and with our regular precinct election official, it was if you had trained before. In the past, I believe 2 years is what we used. I'm thinking that we required those individuals if you haven't trained in the past 2 years, if you came to an in-person class. If you are a returning worker per se, then you would have been able to sign up for our online training class.
Thank you.
I might ask, and you may have said this already, but there was a lot of information there. In terms of the election night at the warehouse, do we have sufficient? We typically have students who staff that function for.
We're still looking for individuals for that. I don't want to sound the alarm. I think that if this is about the point where we start to shift our focus to that. I know that typically we do have high schools that or colleges who come in the groups of like bands or football teams or sororities, fraternities that come and help us work. Not all of them have said yes this election due to I think the pandemic. So we do expect to have to go out to other means. We will be starting to reach out to the individuals who have applied to work for our election day positions to help us fill those, to just say, here's what we have available for election night if you're interested in doing this instead. I think it's a good pool to kind of solicit at that point. So we'll probably have a better idea later this week, and I can certainly reach back out and send a follow-up email to all of you. I don't know, Tony, if you have
I think,
better gauge.
well, I think, if I'm remembering what Brent told me, that at least, Bone and Wallace, and I think maybe Case have committed, to election night to helping out. Still waiting, I think, to hear from Cleveland State and John Carroll. I know we have at least one high school who's going to be able to come in and help us out with electronic poll books. I think we're looking for hopefully another high school to help us out with dock operations that Vic does. So any suggestions, we'll take that to try to help with that. And I would say our biggest need right now really is just getting more bodies over to Hallie to help with all these ballot returns. There's just, while we have automated a lot, which has been great, there's still a manual piece to it. And so some of the folks who've done it in the past are not comfortable coming back, again, because they're of an age where they don't want to come, but we're adding every day to that. So if anybody knows, there's a need there.
Great, thank you.
Are we opening the ABs that are coming in and opening up and processing the absentee ballots that are coming in?
Yes, so you have to. So that 90,000 that I was talking about, those are the ones that, well, they've gone through the vetting process, they've been returned to the system. So now we see them on Track My Ballot, and then their next stop, because it's deemed a valid ballot, all 5 fields, are correct. Now that then goes on to opening teams. And this is where the bipartisan teams will physically take it out of the envelope, unfold it, get it flat, so it can then go on to scanning. I'm probably going to tell you the wrong number, but I think almost 30,000 ballots maybe have been scanned on the DS850s. So that is processed. We have to process it as we receive it in order to be able to report at a reasonable time on election night.
But most people know that processing is not tabulating.
Correct.
These days.
Right, you don't do that till.
Yeah.
Yes, we
Close
don't.
the poll.
Yes, we don't tabulate until 7:30 p.m. And we'll
Exactly.
probably do a whole Facebook Live as we get closer to election day. That's just on what to expect on election night as far as tabulation goes. So.
Great. Ask a question about the Track My Ballot. If a voter submits a vote by mail application and is missing information, let's say they don't provide a form of ID, does that appear though as received in Track My Ballot, so that if they're checking, they'll see, okay, my application was received but not approved, or does it just not make it to the Track My Ballot system yet?
I believe that the challenge code actually appears on Track My Ballot, and I can confirm that. I know that that's how it was set up
I'm not positive.
previously. So if it was, let's say for the application missing the date of birth, then
Right.
a challenge code would appear. That I'm not for sure what the message is, but I can definitely confirm that and make sure that we have that out there. That way individuals are aware.
I know we'll get even busier, and the Track My Ballot system is wonderful, both for people who find it on their own, or as we get questions, either to refer someone there or say, well, tell me your birth date, I can look it up for you.
Yeah.
But I haven't come across that eventuality yet, where I've seen, all right, I see that we've received your application, but here's what's going on.
Yeah, not positive. No, on the ballot itself, if that is deficient, that
Yes.
something for
From the
that,
Track My Ballot.
that definitely will
That I
say
know.
on that, but the application, yeah, I'm not positive.
Okay.
We'll figure that out. It definitely should, and that should be like a hard fix
Okay.
to make happen. But I believe, I want to say that I saw a couple examples of that.
Okay. Thank you.
I mean, it's an easy thing. I've had a couple people call me panicked. Oh, I think I put even though it says don't put the date, today's date, doesn't have the date. People will put their birth year, birth month, year, and then 2020. People just, just happens, so,
Yes.
I've got a few of them. What do we do? What do we do? So that's a good question, Steve. That can come up.
Any other questions? Anything else from the director?
I don't think so, unless there's, like I said, it's questions.
Right, Anthony or Linda, do we have any public comment for this meeting?
Yeah, Adele Eisner did want to make public comment. So Adele, if you're on the line, please unmute your phone, pressing *6.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ms. Eisner.
Hi. I want to, first of all, congratulate the administration and the board on the excellent job with early voting. And I've heard nothing but good things. The two areas that I'd like to ask about, and hoping that cautions are taken in these two areas. With chain of custody, I'm hoping that there are forms that are being signed off on every time the ballots are being moved from one person to another, especially with the international school and the movement back to the board building. And so that the people who were handling them, sign off, and then the people who are receiving them at the board building are signing on, so that can be checked afterwards for people who are interested in verifying. The other area is in Directive 2023, which was not acknowledged today. There was a mention that for systems, tabulation systems that make images of the ballot, those are to be retained. And it doesn't really say, I know that the 850s can make the images, but I know that feature can be turned off. I think it's really important that it's turned on, especially in this election, so that the public can verify the election. It's called Trust and Verify. So those are the two things that I'm looking forward to. And I know that there was attempts at litigation about the latter, the second of the two things about the images a couple of years ago, but I'm hoping that that's being taken care of ahead of the election. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you, Ms. Eisner. Thank you for your comment. Just a matter of point, we did acknowledge Directive 2020-23 today as a walk-on. So I appreciate your comments. And yes, there are chain of custody signatures taking place. The director is nodding. So thank you again for your comments and participating in today's meeting. Anything else, Ms. Walker, Mr. Alto?
Nobody else, unless Linda, you know of anyone?
All right, then. Hearing none, I'm going to move to go into recess. Yes.
One last thing, if we wanted to talk about the dates.
Oh, yes, we should talk about the dates. So we have to, when do we have to have the results in by 2 p.m. on what day?
2 p.m. on November 18th.
So we're going to meet on the 18th backwards, right?
Right, so the 18th, we have to report by 2 o'clock, so I'm guessing maybe a 1 o'clock meeting would be the latest
No, you're going to want to meet earlier than that. I'm thinking 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock, but you want to get the results in by 2, and there's usually a lot of questions, and
I think it was,
I think that we should do it any earlier than noon.
yeah, because we're gonna need every
I know,
minute.
every second.
Yeah, so we could do
12:30.
What day are we talking about?
That's
It's a
Wednesday,
Okay. the
November
18th.
18th.
And what does that do to our sixth meeting on the 16th?
That has to get moved to Saturday, the 14th.
Oh, I'm sorry, so we're working backwards.
Yeah, let's work backwards.
Okay.
So let's do 12:30 then?
Yes,
On the 18th.
on Wednesday, November 18th, we can do 12:30.
Does that work for you, Rob, and Dave? Dave, does that work for you?
Give me the date again, November 18th.
Yeah, 12:30.
yeah, I'll make it work.
Okay, terrific. And then when you want us to meet then, Saturday?
Yes, and then Saturday, November 14th, that'll be the meeting where we come together to discuss the provisional ballots and get authority to move forward with the ballot.
So you got all sorts of staffing matters you gotta address now, huh? Because of this? You're gonna be working 2-3 shifts.
Hopefully not more than 2.
2 shifts.
But yes, we'll be working every day. Actually, we've been working 7 days. We'll continue to do that. Unfortunately, we're probably gonna have to increase the hours post-election just because we're losing out on a whole week of processing time.
So what time, 9:30, 9 o'clock? Earlier the better, I imagine.
Probably,
I would say probably like 9:30, that would give us time to get last minute reports done if we have to at 8 o'clock that morning.
yeah,
So we're moving the 16th to the 14th.
correct.
At 9:30 a.m.
9:30 a.m. on Saturday, November 14th. And that'll be the provisional.
Does that work for you, Dave?
Yeah, I can make that work as well. That's fine.
That's typically a quick meeting.
Yeah, hopefully, yes. I will say that we will do our best, but sometimes, like, especially on the 18th, you get that big report. There may not just be the time for all of that. Not that we can't get that information at a
You
future
gotta
date.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
Were
Any
those
other?
the only changes then?
Yep.
yeah, I think at some point we're gonna,
We will eventually have to change the December meetings as well to, for the audit and the recount. I don't think we're prepared to offer dates of that.
Okay.
But our certification meeting on the 24th is
Oh.
not changing?
Yeah, it's moving up to the 18th.
yeah,
Oh, that's what we're moving to
We're
the
moving up
18th.
because of
Okay,
direct-
that's right, because of the directive. Okay,
Yes.
so that's, okay.
So now our certification meeting is at 12:30 on
All right.
Wednesday, November 18th, and our pre-certification meeting is
Provisional.
Saturday, November 14th.
Got it.
Right.
Thank you.
removing from the calendar Monday the 16th and Tuesday the 24th.
Thank you.
I will move, anything else? I will move to go into recess, and we'll be coming back here on Saturday, November 14th.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you, Dave, for your time.